Imagine hearing the heavy footsteps of something approaching in the dark, only to turn and find nothing. The ground shakes beneath you, yet no creature is in sight. For centuries, America's wilderness has concealed terrifying secrets, beasts whose very existence challenges everything we know about nature, and whose stories still haunt the land today. Creatures so terrifying that they drove entire towns to madness, leaving behind nothing but fear and unanswered questions. But what were they? And why did they choose to torment those who dared to live in their world? From the shadowed forests of the Northeast to the swamps of the South, these cryptids, some ancient predators, others vengeful spirits, have left their mark. No explanation has ever been found. Were they figments of imagination or something darker? Something that still lurks, waiting for the next victim to cross its path? You've heard the stories, but no one has truly uncovered the truth. Could these creatures still be waiting, hidden in the shadows of America's darkest corners? Stick around as we uncover the chilling, untold tales of the creatures that tormented America. Cryptids whose haunting presence may still be felt to this very day. In the late 1800s, the vast wilderness of North America was still an unknown, untamed frontier. The land was full of untold dangers, wild animals, harsh winters, and the constant struggle to survive. But there was something else that lurked in the shadows of this new world, something that even the most hardened settlers feared. The further they ventured into the dense forests, the more they encountered stories, tales of creatures that defied logic, that defied explanation. These creatures were not just a threat to their survival, they were something darker, something rooted in the very fabric of the land. America's wilderness, stretching from the Appalachian Mountains to the deepest swamps of the South, was full of mysteries, and as the settlers pushed further, they found themselves up against something far worse than bears, wolves, or starvation. The frontier was not empty, and there were things waiting in the wilderness that no one could have anticipated. Across the Appalachian Mountains and the southern wilderness, strange things began to happen. It started with unsettling sounds, growls, howls, and cries that didn't belong to any animal the settlers knew. In towns and isolated communities, people began disappearing without a trace. Livestock were found slaughtered, their bodies left in strange, unnatural positions. But when the creatures were finally seen, they were far worse than anyone could have imagined. The terror reached its peak in a small village in Kentucky, where one of the first reported encounters occurred. A farmer, on a quiet evening, saw a creature standing on two legs, taller than any man, with glowing red eyes piercing through the dark. It was indistinct, its form blurred by the moonlight, but the terror it evoked was real. The farmer fled, but not before he caught a glimpse of the creature's towering, shadowy shape as it slowly retreated into the forest. What was it? A bear? A man? Or something else entirely? As more sightings were reported, fear began to spread like wildfire. People who had once been confident in their ability to survive in the wilderness now found themselves questioning everything they knew. Some claimed to hear heavy footsteps behind them as they walked through the woods. Others spoke of strange shadows that stalked the edges of their farms at night. But it wasn't just the creatures' appearances that frightened them, it was what happened to the people who encountered them. A family in Virginia claimed their house was repeatedly attacked by an unknown force. Strange scratches appeared on the walls, and in the middle of the night, they heard the unmistakable sound of heavy breathing outside their door. Each time they checked, no one was there, yet the fear lingered. The sightings were becoming more frequent, and the people of the frontier were growing desperate for answers. Was this some sort of mass hysteria? Or was there a dark force in the wilderness that had been waiting for centuries? Could these cryptids be something more? A curse from an ancient time? Or perhaps they were creatures that had lived in the shadows of America's wilderness for centuries, unseen and unknown until now? The reports grew, each one more chilling than the last. But as the fear spread, so did the sense of helplessness. There was no way to prepare for these creatures. No weapon could fight what seemed to be an unstoppable force of nature. And so, the settlers, caught between fear and disbelief, found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about the land they had chosen to inhabit. As the reports of strange, otherworldly creatures spread across the country, two cryptids stand out in the haunting folklore of America's wilderness: the Mothman and the Beast of Bray Road. Each one, while rooted in mystery, left a trail of fear and unanswered questions in their wake. The first creature we'll explore is one that should have stayed hidden in the jungles of Africa. Known as the Mokombembe, this massive, dinosaur-like beast has been the subject of legend for centuries in Congo. Descriptions vary, but many locals believe it to be a living relic, some sort of dinosaur that survived extinction. But in the 1920s, reports began to surface far from the Congo, in the swamps of the American South. Was it just another tall tale, or could this creature have crossed oceans and found refuge in the murky waters of the Mississippi Delta? Some theorists believe that these reports might not just be mistaken sightings of larger-than-life reptiles. There are whispers that the creature could be tied to an ancient Native American legend, a guardian spirit, protecting sacred land deep in the swamps. Could this be more than just a cryptid sighting? Could it be a manifestation of something darker, a creature born from the myths of the land itself? But there are other creatures just as terrifying and much closer to home. In rural Wisconsin, there have been reports of a creature known as the Beast of Bray Road, half human, half wolf, lurking on the fringes of farmland, preying on livestock. It wasn't like any wolf the settlers knew. Its eyes glowed with a supernatural, unnatural ferocity, and its howl sent chills through the bones of anyone who heard it. And unlike most wild creatures, it seemed to be watching, not just hunting but observing its prey from the dark corners of the forests. In one case, a farmer swore he saw the creature up close, standing at the edge of his land, its eyes glowing in the dark. But when he tried to approach, it vanished into the woods, leaving behind nothing but the lingering scent of decay. What happened next remains a mystery. Some say the creature is still out there, prowling the edges of Bray Road, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to cross its path. But the most unsettling part? Some locals believe the creature was not simply a beast, it was something that had been summoned, something older than time itself. But what is its true origin? The emotional toll these cryptid encounters took on the people was undeniable. Fear gripped entire communities, causing them to second-guess their every move. One family living near the Missouri border endured months of terror at the hands, or claws, of an unknown creature. Their house was repeatedly attacked, not by men, but by a beast whose claws left deep gouges in the walls. It wasn't just the physical destruction, it was the psychological damage that drove them to the edge of madness. One night, the creature came closer than ever before. The family had barricaded themselves inside, their eyes fixed on the door as they heard heavy breathing just outside. But when they opened the door in the morning, there was no sign of the creature, just more scratches. And the family? They were never heard from again. Some say they vanished into the woods, lost to the terror that had haunted them. But no one truly knows what happened next. Did the creature claim them? Or did something even darker take them away? To make these terrifying encounters feel more real, we turn to the evidence that exists. Old newspaper clippings, eyewitness testimonies, and reports that date back to the earliest sightings of these cryptids. In 1912, the local paper in Evansville, Indiana, reported strange occurrences along the riverbank. Witnesses claimed to have seen something monstrous emerging from the woods. A creature nearly 7 feet tall, covered in thick, matted hair, its eyes glowing in the dim light. The town was gripped by fear, and yet no one could explain what had been seen. One of the most chilling accounts comes from Thomas O'Donnell, a farmer who lived on the outskirts of town. He claimed to have seen the creature from his porch late one evening. It wasn't a bear, O'Donnell recalled, it wasn't a man. It was something in between. And it was looking straight at me. His testimony was so vivid and unsettling that it was published in several local papers. O'Donnell spoke of the creature's eerie human-like gaze, a look that sent a shiver down his spine. But despite the local panic, no one could ever find the creature, or O'Donnell for that matter, who mysteriously disappeared shortly after his sighting. But O'Donnell wasn't alone. Other witnesses from surrounding towns reported similar sightings. An eerie figure lurking just beyond the edge of the woods, always just out of reach. In the 1930s, a report in the Wisconsin Observer detailed another sighting of the Beast of Bray Road, describing it as a half-man, half-wolf, with eyes that glowed like fire. Those who saw it said they felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the creature was more than just an animal, it was something primal, something ancient. To better understand these terrifying encounters, let's step back in time. Imagine you're a settler in the late 1800s, living on the fringes of civilization. The wind howls through the trees, and the silence of the forest is broken only by the occasional distant howl. But one night something changes. As you step out onto your porch, you see it, a towering figure covered in fur moving silently through the shadows. It doesn't belong in these woods, and yet it's there, watching, waiting. What would you do? The emotional and psychological impact of these encounters cannot be understated. Many witnesses, including O'Donnell, claimed they were never the same after their encounter. The terror they felt didn't fade with time, it lingered, gnawing at their sanity. Some witnesses reported hearing the creature's eerie growl echoing in their minds long after they'd left the area. And many never spoke of their experiences again, for fear of being labeled insane or ridiculed. As the years passed, the sightings continued to fuel the legend of the Beast of Bray Road. Despite numerous attempts by local authorities to track the creature, it was never captured, and its existence remains an enigma to this day. Some believe the beast was a part of an ancient Native American curse, a guardian spirit that was disturbed by the encroachment of settlers on sacred land. Others think it was simply a creature that had evolved, hidden away from human eyes for centuries. But the question remains, what is the Beast of Bray Road? Was it a supernatural force or merely an undiscovered species? Was it part of a larger mystery, perhaps one tied to the very land upon which it haunted? And, perhaps more disturbingly, what really happened to those who encountered it? Some say they know more than they're willing to admit, but the truth may be far darker than we can ever imagine. As we delve deeper into the mystery of these cryptids, we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Are these creatures simply the stuff of myth, or could they actually exist, lurking just beyond the veil of our understanding? Drop your theories in the comments below and let's unravel this together. Do you think the Beast of Bray Road could still be roaming the forest today, or has it long since vanished? Let's discuss. If the mystery surrounding these creatures has left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We have many more chilling, unsolved stories waiting for you in the dark corners of history. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a spine-tingling tale. Do you know someone who loves a good cryptid mystery? Or perhaps they've heard strange stories of creatures lurking in the wilderness. Share this video with them and let's see what they think. It's time to bring these chilling tales into the light, and maybe, just maybe, together we can uncover the truth behind America's most haunted cryptid legends. And don't go anywhere, because what we uncover next will send chills down your spine. Could there be more creatures hiding in America's darkest corners? Or perhaps something even more sinister than we've yet uncovered? Stay with us because the truth may be closer than we think. As we begin to piece together the puzzle of these terrifying creatures, we must ask, were they real or simply a product of legend and fear? Many of the reports, though consistent, lack the undeniable evidence needed to confirm their existence. Some believe these creatures were rare, undiscovered species that roamed deep within America's wildest regions, hiding in plain sight for centuries. Others propose that these cryptids could be ancient remnants, beasts from a time before the first settlers arrived, hiding in the untouched corners of the land, far beyond the reach of civilization. Despite these theories, the truth remains elusive. Some cryptid hunters continue their search, scouring the most remote parts of America, hoping to capture proof of what some still believe could be living creatures from another era. And as recent reports in the deep woods of Pennsylvania suggest, there are whispers of these cryptids still existing, their sightings few and far between. But with each new encounter, the mystery deepens. Could it be that these creatures have somehow survived the centuries, lurking in the dark corners of America's vast, forgotten wilderness? Are they still out there, waiting, watching, just beyond the edge of our understanding? As we end our journey into the heart of these cryptid mysteries, one question still remains. What if the creatures we fear aren't the stuff of legend? What if they're real, hidden away, waiting for the day when they emerge from the shadows once again? The answer, my friends, may never be fully revealed, at least not until we dare to venture into the deep, untamed wilderness one last time. What do you believe? Could these creatures still haunt America's wilderness, or are they simply legends passed down through generations? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. The truth is out there, but sometimes it's better left in the shadows. The creatures that haunted early America, these cryptids of legend and lore, remain shrouded in mystery to this day. Though the stories have been passed down through generations, the question still lingers. Could these creatures still be hiding in the depths of the woods, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves to the world once again? Or are they simply a ghost of the past, fading into obscurity as time moves on? Perhaps the answer is out there, just beyond the reach of modern civilization, where the wilds remain untamed and the shadows stretch long. So what do you think? What really happened to those who encountered these creatures? Were they simply the product of overactive imaginations, or were they real, terrifying beings that still haunt the wilderness? Drop your theories in the comments below. Let's unravel this mystery together. And if you want more chilling stories from America's dark past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The shadows are waiting, and so are the next stories we have yet to uncover.